In today's episode, I'm going to show you time management made easy, building your perfect weekly schedule. Rising to be, with new videos and podcasts weekly. Join our Patreon at patreon.com/rising to be, or become a channel member for exclusive videos and more. Visit risingtobe.com for all your planner and stationery needs. Only at risingtobe.com, helping you plan for what's to come. Ever felt like your week starts with a bang but fizzles into chaos by Friday? You're not alone. Most of us juggle a whirlwind of responsibilities, from work deadlines, personal errands, social obligations, all while trying to keep our sanity intact. The good news? You don't need a miracle to regain control. The secret lies in one habit: weekly planning. A weekly schedule isn't just a glorified to-do list, it's a strategic roadmap that helps you allocate time for what truly matters: your goals, priorities, and even your downtime. By assigning time slots to specific tasks and even commitments, you create structure, reduce decision fatigue, and set yourself up for a more productive and even a peaceful week. In this episode, I'll break down how to craft an effective weekly schedule that supports both your productivity and your personal well-being. You'll learn how to prioritize, manage time more intentionally, and make room for the things that energize you, not just drain you. Say goodbye to the chaos and hello to the more fulfilling, balanced week, one that starts strong and finishes even stronger. Tip 1. Practice deliberate elimination. Because sometimes less really is more. Effective time management isn't just about cramming more onto your plate, it's about clearing the junk off of it first. In fact, the real productivity magic often comes from what you don't do. Take this little gem. The average American checks their phone 36 times an hour. That's basically every other minute. Who needs focus when you've got notifications? And if you're not interrupting yourself, don't worry, somebody else will. About every 8 minutes. No wonder your brain feels like it's a browser with 47 tabs open. That's where deliberate elimination comes in. It's kind of like spring cleaning for your time and attention. Be brutally selective about what you allow into your day. Maybe that means rocking a minimalist wardrobe to kill decision fatigue, or cutting the fluff in conversations so you're not stuck in small talk quicksand. The goal? Axe anything that doesn't boost your productivity, happiness, or even peace of mind. If it's not adding value, it's subtracting your time, and trust me, you've got better things to do. Tip 2. Speak up and set those priority boundaries, like a boss. If you really want to take control of your time, you've got to own it. And that means getting everyone around you on the same page. Whether it's family, friends, or coworkers, don't be shy about letting them know what your priorities look like. What are your must-do morning tasks? What's your sacred Friday 4 p.m. ritual? I'm all about priorities, not endless to-do lists. I save my emails for the end of the day, and my team knows I'm not a 24/7 inbox machine. They get thoughtful replies with one business day, and that mutual understanding gives me serious time control vibes. If you keep your non-negotiables a secret, don't be surprised when you're juggling everyone's requests like a circus performer, with nothing to show but stress and a pile of half-done stuff. So speak up, set those boundaries, and watch your productivity soar. Tip 3. Engage in deliberate practice, because good enough is just the starting line. If deliberate elimination is about cutting the fluff, deliberate practice is all about diving deep into the stuff that actually matters. And no, I'm not talking about casually dabbing in a task while half watching YouTube videos in the background. This concept was coined by the late Dr. K. Anders Ericsson, which is the secret sauce behind world-class performance. And spoiler here, it has way more to do with focused effort than raw talent. Ericsson argued that even Mozart, the supposed child prodigy, wasn't born exceptional, he just started early, practiced with intention, and stuck with it long enough to outshine the rest. So what does deliberate practice really look like? It's pushing past the "I'm decent at this" phase and refusing to settle into autopilot. You're not just repeating the same task, you're challenging yourself with purpose, precision, and consistent effort. Whether you're learning an instrument, mastering code, or writing killer content, the goal is to stretch beyond your comfort zone and into the land of skill growth. Do it often enough, and you might enter that dreamy state called flow, where time warps, distractions vanish, and your brain basically becomes a productivity Jedi. As author Stephen Kotler puts it, flow is an optional state of consciousness where you feel and perform your best. Sounds amazing, right? Well, it starts with showing up, tuning in, and practicing like you mean it. Tip 4. Embrace your peak hours. Work when you're actually awake, not just clock watching. Here's a secret no one actually tells you. Waking up at 6 a.m. doesn't automatically turn you into a productivity superhero. The real magic happens when you work during your personal peak hours. That sweet spot when your brain is firing on all cylinders. Whether you're a morning lark, a night owl, or a funky combo somewhere in between, knowing when you're at your best is a game changer. Science backs us up too. Your body's circadian rhythm is basically your internal DJ, spinning the tunes for your energy, focus, and motivation throughout the day. Yulia Yaganova recommends tracking your vibes every hour for a few weeks to spot your peak productivity zones. Once you found them, guard those time blocks like a dragon guards treasure and tackle your toughest tasks then. And if you're lucky enough to be the boss, think about ditching the rigid 9 to 5 grind. Sometimes flexible hours doesn't exactly boost productivity. They may have worked and been more enjoyable and even helped you snag top talent who actually want to stick around. So go ahead, work smarter by working when you're actually awake. Tip 5, reduce your to-do list and hunt down the one thing that matters. Let's face it, traditional to-do lists can feel like a never-ending scroll of stress. You cross off 2 things and somehow 3 more appear like a productivity hydra. The checklist chaos in favor of what is typically called the hunter strategy. Inspired by Gary Keller's The One Thing, this approach is all about thinking like our caveman ancestors. If the hunter didn't bring home dinner, nobody ate. Translation, you focus on one high-impact task that actually matters, not a laundry list of, busy work. The trick? Identify the task that will make the biggest difference today, the one that moves the needle. Pro tip, it's often the thing you least want to do. Write it down, slap it on a bright post-it, and give it your full attention. This strategy works better than a bloated to-do list for 2 key reasons. First, it helps you knock out the big high ROI wins that actually free up time later. Second, it gives you that glorious, satisfying, heck yes, I did it feeling. Plus, let's be honest, we're all a little terrible at estimating how long stuff can actually take. Long to-do lists often become half-finished guilt traps, while the hunter strategy keeps you focused, motivated, and finally productive. Tip 6, get enough sleep because productivity doesn't run on coffee alone. So let's be honest, it's hard to crush your goals when you're half asleep and running on fumes. You can write all the to-do lists you want, but if you're yawning between tasks and mistaking your stapler for a sandwich, you're not exactly winning here. According to author James Clear, sleep isn't just for dreamers. It's your brain's night crew doing critical work like restoration, memory consolidation, and yes, literally taking out the mental trash. Apparently, your brain does a deep clean while you snooze, clearing out toxins twice as fast as it does when you're awake. Talk about an overnight refresh here. So, how much do you actually need? Well, the National Sleep Foundation says around 8 hours is the sweet spot for most adults. But hey, outliers do exist. Some high-powered folks like Martha Stewart and Tom Ford swear they only need 4 to 5 hours. We suspect they might be powered by espresso and sheer willpower. Scientists think this could be genetic, but for the rest of us mortals, figuring out your ideal sleep amount is essential to staying sharp and managing your time like a pro. Want better sleep? Try cooling your room, cutting the late afternoon caffeine, using blue light filters, and winding down before bed. Oh, and don't skip the daily movement. Your brain and your to-do list will thank you later. Tip 7, avoid useless meetings because this could have been an email, is a whole mood. Nothing drains the soul faster than a meeting that could have been a Slack message with a thumbs up emoji. The very problematic Elon Musk put it bluntly, as he does when he told Tesla employees to walk out of meetings the moment they stop being useful. Harsh, maybe. Accurate, absolutely. Meetings, especially in big companies, tend to multiply like gremlins, and before you know it, half your day is gone and nothing's been done. Protecting brain power, not burying it under calendar invites. If a meeting isn't essential, it doesn't happen, period. Plus, tools like Slack help us keep communication flowing without hijacking productivity. The result? Fewer interruptions, more deep work, and no more pretending to look interested in a meeting about, a meeting. Tip 8, take constructive breaks because even your brain needs a coffee stretch. Despite what hustle culture says, powering through your entire workday without stopping is not a badge of honor. It's a fast track to burnout and, of course, brain fog. Science says so. A study in cognition found that short, intentional breaks actually boost decision-making and even your creativity. University of Illinois professor Alejandro Yeros explains that when your brain is bombarded with the same task for too long, it starts tuning it out like background noise. Basically, your brain goes, this again, boring, I'm out. His advice, step away before your brain files your to-do list under, meh. No 80-hour grind badges here. Encourage breaks, and of course, research backs it up. MIT's Bob Posen suggests taking a breather every 75 to 90 minutes based on how top-performing musicians practice. And no, scrolling endlessly on your phone doesn't count. Constructive breaks should give your prefrontal cortex a breather. Go for a walk, chat with a coworker, stretch, step outside for a dose of nature, or even grab a snack. Yes, snacks are scientifically endorsed. Remember, working smarter isn't about grinding nonstop. It's about knowing when to hit pause. Tip 9, master your inbox so it doesn't master you. Email, the blessing and the curse of modern communication. 1 minute you're checking a quick message, and the next thing you know, you've fallen down a digital rabbit hole of threads, replies, and a dreaded just circling back message. It's no wonder there are full-blown Reddit threads and memes dedicated to hating email. Some companies have even gone full rebel and banned internal email altogether. Bold move. Take a more balanced approach. Email isn't evil. It just needs better boundaries. I still use email for the long stuff. Those deep dive combos that just don't belong in a Slack thread or emoji-laden group chat. And of course, we rely on email for communicating with clients, leads, and important stakeholders. But the trick to staying sane, learn when not to send an email. And when you do, make it short, sweet, and ridiculously easy to respond to. Time-effective emails are a game changer, and resisting the urge to over-email is an underrated act of self-care. Remember, your inbox should serve you, not the other way around. Tip 10, learn to delegate, because you don't have to be the hero of every task. One of the golden rules of the insanely productive, stick to what you're amazing at and actually enjoy doing. That's where your time shines brightest. Everything else, it's prime real estate for delegation. Seriously, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should be the one doing it. Unless you really want to spread 3 hours formatting spreadsheets while slowly losing your will to live. Now let's be real, sometimes delegation isn't on the table. Maybe you're bootstrapping, or maybe you are the one everyone else is delegating to. If that's the case, don't panic. Start by keeping tabs on tasks that someone else could absolutely crush in half the time. Then, as your resources grow or your sanity starts waving a white flag, begin handing off those tasks little by little. Delegation doesn't have to be all or nothing. It's about freeing up your brain for the work that truly moves the needle. Share this awesome episode with someone you know who needs it to help them plan for what's to come. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I hate for you to miss the next episode. Now, let's get into our recap. So let's do a quick recap just in case you missed a tip on the list. Tip 1, practice deliberate elimination. Tip 2, speak up and set those priority boundaries like a pro. Tip 3, engage in deliberate practice. Tip 4, embrace your peak hours. Tip 5, reduce your to-do list. Tip 6, get enough sleep. Tip 7, avoid useless meetings. And tip 8, take constructive breaks. Tip 9, master your inbox. And lastly, tip 10, learn to delegate. The way a team plays as a whole determines its success. You may have the greatest bunch of individual stars in the world, but if they don't play together, the club won't be worth a dime. Babe Ruth. I just want to take a quick moment to thank our patrons and channel members. This episode would not be possible without your support. Thank you. And if you would like to support the show, visit patreon.com/risingtobe or become a channel member today. Thanks again for stopping by and pressing play. I truly appreciate it. Let me know down below in the comments or in your podcast review what tip you'll be using. Keep planning for what's to come, and I'll see you in the next episode.